All right, well, the crew is back together again. The Colonel's here. Crizel is here. Say hello, Crizel.
Lovely Crizel.
Colonel and Crizel.
Yeah.
Jen has ordered seafood. Jen and Karen.
Shrimp.
Sinigang. Shrimp sinigang?
Yes.
Okay.
What did you order?
Jen can't have meat. She's been cranky because of her tummy hurts.
Yeah, how about you, James?
You got morning sickness and she's eating too much meat.
Yes, this time is shrimp.
Seafood.
Seafood.
No oysters here, so we prefer
You haven't met
You
you.
don't like shrimp?
Don't like.
For me, shrimp needs to be like, I need my shrimp cocktail sauce
Yeah.
with the horseradish. They don't have horseradish here, Gino.
SNR.
They do?
SNR.
Okay.
Yeah, SNR.
But if you go to a restaurant here, nobody's got it. Nobody has it like our.
Even tartar sauce, they'll,
Yeah.
they'll make their own tartar
Not
sauce.
right. It's not the same. But they like it. Karen loves shrimp anyway.
Yeah.
But the flavor, the taste is not the same for me.
No.
Good?
Yeah, good.
Hey, how's it taste? Let us know.
Pleasure.
All right, Mike. It's been a great expat meetup here at the Canadian Beaver. The second Sunday every month, right?
That's right. We had 114 come today. So next month we want 120.
All right. Well, maybe we can do it
I hope
because we got some awesome people here. Glenn, you don't mind being on YouTube?
No, it's okay.
Okay, awesome. So we made some new friends here.
Yeah. Good night. Very good day. Good day and night.
Gino's here. The Colonel's here.
Oh yeah.
Our friend Von Dormal is here. David's here. Just
Your Panay posse.
the Panay posse
There you
is
go.
accounted for. So, our new friend Louis, the beef cattleman here.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
landlord. And landlord.
All right, awesome.
All right,
Awesome,
brother.
guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for doing this, Michael. It means a lot to a lot.
You know what? These guys have been so supportive. They're awesome, and I really appreciate they made it all the way out here to Roxas City. And I hope to see them again soon. But they got to take care of the baby. You got to take care of this baby. Anyway, congratulations, by the way, Karen.
Thank you, Michael.
Amazing.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it's been amazing. If you guys are on Panay Island or in the Philippines, and you got a chance, come on over to the Canadian Beaver.
But what I try to tell
You tired, Jen?
Yeah, we want to go now
Okay, we can go.
because everybody are going home now.
But not everybody. Some people stay here and drink Red Horse all night.
Some.
Dazzle's gonna stay here and drink Red Horse all night, right? What about Karen? Can't drink Red Horse. Little Minnie wouldn't like it.
We're worried the rain is coming.
Uh-oh, the rain is coming. It's the Philippines. It rains in the Philippines.
Yeah, it does.
Dazzle is so shocked with the red horse.
Give me pina colada instead. Last anniversary we drink and we enjoyed.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember.
Like concert.
I forgot what we had back then.
Cocktail, I think, or something.
It was like sweet.
Yeah, I saw you guys with it.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You hear that? 3%?
Yeah, only
You ask
3%.
Esther to mix you something.
Only wine, 3% for me. Not red
They
horse.
can mix you something right now.
Not
Go
red
ahead.
horse, just 3% only wine.
All right, Colonel, you having a good time?
Yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, talking to Vaughn here.
Vaughn, you having a good time?
Absolutely. Everybody better be here.
Oh yeah, hold
And
on.
I posse.
Hold on. I put my
I
hat on.
forgot mine.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Second pool, and they also have a bar and area that they fill out here. And then they have a giant pond in the middle. So I mean, this is a nice resort.
Yeah, this is nice over here. For me, the other side, the Amlan side, is the better side of the island. This is cool. It's worth visiting and seeing, but for me, you go down Burrawanga and then down to Antique. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, next time we come to Roxas and stay overnight, we'll stay here. What happened? I know you like the Iloilo area. You live in the Iloilo currently. You just want to change the scenery. You want to get.
It's closer to where my girlfriend lives. She lives in Oslab.
Okay.
So It's close, and there's nothing in Oslab. Oslab is just a little tourist area for the whale sharks, and that's about it. Most people come there for a day.
Okay.
They do the whale shark, and they're gone. So there's really not a lot there.
Okay.
So I figured Dumaguete. I didn't want to be in Dumaguete because, like, I don't want to be right in the city. You know what I mean? So I was online. I looked at Michael's thing, and plus there's a couple others like a Dot, and then there's like a couple, 3 or 4 different realtor sites. So I found a house. There's a couple I was looking at outside. Maybe I was thinking mostly Valencia, up in the mountain. It might be a little cooler.
A lot of foreigners there.
Yeah,
but they like it there.
So I found a place. It's in Amlan, which is about 25 minutes away from Dumaguete, and about 15 minutes away from Tanhai, which is another, upcoming little city.
So had you been there before you I know you went there to obviously make...
That was it. That's the only time I went there that one time.
Just research it online?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I found this house I was looking for, and I got a hold of the realtors, and when we were in Cebu, when I was renewing my visa, we went to Oslab, so I took a quick trip over there, checked it out, said, look, I like this place, what do we got to do because it'd been, that was over 2 months ago. And people don't want to hold things for you unless you're going to pay them.
Yep.
So he's like, well, you'll have to pay $30,000 a month or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay that for a house I can't live in. So he got a hold of the owner, the guy who runs the company, who's Canadian.
Okay.
And I talked to him, and we worked out a deal. So.
Did you want to say how much you're paying a month?
$30,000.
$30,000 a month. That seems really high for the Philippines. So it must be a nice place.
It is. Actually, for Dumaguete, it's not that high.
Okay.
I mean, that's about median price.
Okay. For me, just hearing 30,000, I think it ought to be pretty dang nice here. But I haven't been to Dumaguete yet, so I don't know for sure.
Well, it also has 6 bedrooms.
Okay, it's huge. Okay, that explains it. That explains why do you need 6 bedrooms? All right, are you letting the whole family, your girlfriend's whole family move in?
No.
Just because they're going to say in the comments.
But if they're close enough that they can come.
They can come visit. Yeah.
Okay, it's not a 6-bedroom house. What it is, it's a 3-bedroom house. One of the bedrooms is really small. It has 2 outbuildings.
Okay.
One has 2 bedrooms in it. Almost like a hotel room type of thing, and then there's another building that has like a kitchen area and a shower and another bedroom.
It's pretty good setup.
So so when her family comes, there's room for everybody. You got plenty of room to eat, all that kind of stuff. There's a big front yard where you can play badminton, whatever you want to do. It's literally 50 feet from a resort and the ocean.
All right. Well, it makes a lot of sense for you because she's going to be real happy because her family can visit. You're going to be happy because
she can go home whenever she needs to go home.
She can go home. You've got an upscale place in a nice, really beautiful area. So I'm kind of sad you're leaving, but we'll go over there and visit you. I want to see what it looks like. What fish just jumped? The fishing pond?
No idea.
Fish farm?
Maybe there's a gator in there.
Well, they are seeing crocodiles around here. I don't know if they're just drinking too much Tanduay or what, but they claim the barangay put out a warning in Bataan, right? Over by us, and said don't go out in the water in a certain area because they saw a crocodile there. So I think they're serious. But there's zoos here too, so maybe they might be escaping from the zoo.
Well, they're here. It's they're just not.
They eat them. When these local guys see them, they probably just jump in and grab the damn crocodile and eat it. I've seen things. I won't elaborate, but I've seen things. If I can tell you, there's quite a few of these kuyas. If they saw a crocodile out there in the water right now, he's walking along, sees it, he's going to jump right in and grab that sucker by the tail.
They'll eat, like I said, they'll eat anything here. I was watching it on the YouTuber, and they're eating like frog legs. Basically, it's the bottom half of the whole frog.
My brother-in-law and his cousins, when the snakes do come in, these big, I think they're like pythons. They come in and they eat the chickens out of grandma's chicken coop. They eat the snake. They have like a big party. They get a bunch of red horse and Tanduay, and they sit around and roast that snake. And they make an event out of it. It's like a big party, And they're
snake eating day.
We've been to the middle of Cebu Island. We've been to the northern part. And Cebu is a skinny freaking island. Yeah, it's a long, pointy kind of an island. And Oslab's is it down in the south end?
Yes.
And we have not been to the south end yet. So is it worth it?
I mean, if you want to see the whale shark, but the whale shark did disappear for.
They said they went over
days.
by. I was talking to Gino last night, and he said they were going over. There's a bunch of whale sharks showed up over by Antique, and the local barangay over there. I guess the government's trying to make some kind of tour operation out of that because occasionally they're turning up now over by Antique, and they hadn't been doing that in a long time.
But that's all of Oslab. If the whale sharks left.
Then Oslab's dead. Their tourism is dead. Well, they better find an alternative. They better figure something out.
Well, apparently they came back. Apparently, sometimes because they have like what is it, the plankton or whatever they're eating. There'll be like a huge, I don't even know what kind of group plankton going, but they'll someplace in the ocean that once a year something will happen and there's a ton of food and they'll go and eat what they.
Well, we are tentatively planning a trip in July next month, and if you're settled in by then, we might visit you. But we'll try to go to Oslab and swim with the whale sharks. How much did you guys pay to do that? Was it a lot? Was it pricey, or is it pretty cheap?
I don't know.
Was it worth it?
Maybe $500. It was worth it because you don't. You're not supposed to touch them or anything, but sometimes, because you'll be sitting there and then all of a sudden this
come up and
huge
brush
thing
up.
just swims over your head. And they are huge.
What were you doing? The snorkeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just kind of, you put the vest on so you don't have to worry about swimming. And I just had my mask and my snorkel, and I just held on to the side of the boat thing there and just stick your head in the water.
Okay. Followed the anchor down?
Because I can swim, but the boat's moving and stuff. And if you're underwater and swimming around, all of a sudden you come up, and now you got to find your boat.
Well, sometimes it is like the Wild West here. Did they make you sign a thing that says they're not responsible if you die out there?
We did something. I was with all Filipino, so it kind of went.
They don't. Yeah, if you're with all Filipino,
plus I knew another. The guy who brought us down there knows everybody, so it's one of.
Karen and I have gone on tours and stuff, and they make us sign. It basically says if you die out there, we're not responsible.
Well, if you've been to any Fiesta and seen their carnival rides, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can get killed real easy.
It's an easy death trap.
It's the Wild West. It's not as bad as that poor girl in Brazil that she was going. Did you see that bungee jumping?
No.
And the guys picked her up and threw her off the bridge, the bungee jump. They never tied the bungee off. That's not, yeah, whoops. It's not that bad, but yeah, I mean it's.
You forgot the.
Yeah, that's what happened. They just didn't tie her. They threw her right off the bridge. It was really sad because her boyfriend was there, but. Yeah, I mean it's the Wild West here, and you got to use common sense when you go on these tours. I obviously I do it. I'm not scared to do it, but you have to have common sense because they're not gonna babysit you that well, like you're back in the U.S.
Yeah, you can't sue for every freaking thing that you did wrong.
Yeah, and if you do win, you do somehow win some legal remedy here, you get paid. It's not going to be very much. Your life isn't worth much here. It's even if you win, and you probably won't. It's only going to be maybe a couple grand for your whole, your value of your whole life. So
now. You can also use that to your advantage, and if you did something wrong,
exactly,
that it might cost you a couple grand to get out of that problem, but you can get out of it.
That's right. If somebody pulls out in front of you without their reflectors and you run them over, yeah, they're probably going to find you guilty, even though it's not your fault. But you're probably going to be able to get off the hook rather inexpensively compared to the U.S. or anywhere in the West where we've got these ambulance chasers going on. Right?
Yeah, you can basically make deals with the family if something happens or whoever is mad at you, and you can make a deal, settle it between the two of you, and that's good.
And I've heard cases where people up and shot other people and did that, and that's supposed to be a life sentence, but it's not. But what can I say? If the family agrees to let the person off the hook, then
that's between them.
That's between them. Sometimes in the U.S., we get all these controversies and everything, but because the prosecutor decides who they're going to pursue charges against in most cases in the U.S., here the family has to file the charges. The aggrieved person has to actually file the charges and do basically mostly do the prosecutor's job here.
Yeah, my father owned a bar back in New York, and some girl came in and then claimed that she had fallen in the bar and sued. and the insurance company that my father had for the bar just went and paid her.
Yeah.
Even though the witnesses said she never fell. She had fallen someplace else and then came there and said she fell there. She's like, she's just going to go to every bar and say she fell.
Yeah, that won't.
And it's easier for them. They just pay them rather than to worry about having to go through but that's why they do it. Here they'll be like, okay, you fell, get up.
And yeah, the out-of-court settlement is so high that you get con artists going around pretending they fell. That won't go over here. People will see right through that, and they're not going to reward somebody for that kind of behavior here. That's another reason insurance premiums are lower, or people even non-existent here. Most people are driving around without insurance, without any significant insurance. Their liability coverage here is very low.
I have an extra insurance on my bike. I don't even know really what it covers. I pay $100 a year.
$100 a year.
But I remember a YouTuber. You remember he got kicked out of the country, but remember he trashed his truck.
Oh yeah, that
and then
guy.
he just left his truck on the side of the road and called the insurance company.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did to take care of that.
I know one guy that lives near here. He's got a bunch of new cars and trucks. He's got some money, and he told me he's paying about $1,000 US for his brand new truck for his coverage. That's a Philippine truck, like a Mitsubishi or something, and it's probably costs like $35,000 US, and he's paying $1,000 a year to cover it for the case it gets totaled. Which to me, that's crazy. I'd rather drive a multi-cab around than pay an extra $1,000 in insurance a year. So
here, let's ask 5,000 questions. So I see a lot of new YouTubers coming on, and because a lot of people talk about the Captain Save-A-Ho who comes here and he's going to save the girl that's in the poverty and all that. Well, now you got a lot of I call them Captain Save an Expat. They're going to tell you the truth. They'll know the truth. I'm not going to candy coat it. I'm telling you the truth about that. And then they just spew all this horrible, hateful things. But the point is, it's whatever. It's your reality of what the Philippines is. It's like I said, James literally loves his life right now.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, I think he is a little over whatever about the Philippines, but he loves it here. Now, you could take someone else, put him in James's shoes, and they would think it was freaking horrible.
Yeah.
But if you took James, you could stick him in one of them $1 million condos that Filipino life was shown in Cebu, and he would hate it.
Yeah, I'd have. That's the truth.
But so basically, there's just basic, follow the law. Don't do stupid things. A lot of people hate foreigners. I don't know why. You come from a foreign land. If you're like, well, I don't want to be around foreigners. Well, what are they going to do to you? I don't see foreigners coming up and just basically borrowing money from everevery they run into.
9 out of 10 foreigners, in my experience, are decent people. Fun to sit down and have a conversation with, like David. But there's this maybe 10%, and they're really wealthy guys, okay? And they judge everybody else. And their thing in life, their self-esteem, their self-worth comes from their bank balance and their possessions. And they look at you and they see you with your ADV 160, or they see me with my Honda, and they think, this guy's poor, Who's he to be showing his face on YouTube?
Well, that's the people who attack other YouTubers. But basically, if you just come here and live your life, you might see foreigners, but you're not going to have a lot of interaction with them unless you want to.
I try to say hi to everybody.
I do
it looks
too.
like
and
sometimes they ignore you.
Yes, they do. They ignore you a lot. Because I'll be in a mall. When I first got to Iloilo, it's been almost 4 years. I rarely seen a foreigner, and that's Iloilo. Now the course are everywhere.
Lots,
but a lot of times you see a foreigner, and you kind of wait for him to make eye contact. You give him a little nod of the head, hey, what's up? And some of
they'll
them
look away.
They will just not look at you.
I had a guy at a McDonald's in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. And I said, hey, another American? And I held my hand out. And he looked at me with rage in his face and walked out the door.
These are the guys that are like, oh, I don't want to be around foreigners. You're the ones making it so people don't want to be around foreigners.
Yeah, those are the ones.
It's you. You're the problem.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
We went to, I went to a place in Cebu. I did a little check of the different places with a driver. And there's a temple.
The Temple of Leah?
No. It's another. It's a
Okay.
It's like a Buddhist temple,
Okay.
but it's not Buddhist. It's one of them other things. So I have this huge freaking stairs to get up to it, right?
Okay.
So I went up and I'm checking out, and on my way down, I'm making joke with people. You know, I'm like, oh, you only got 500 more steps. Every foreigner person I seen, I'd make that joke, and they would ignore me. And they would look away.
Yeah.
The Filipinos are like, they're laughing.
That's
and
why I
they're,
like Filipinos so
talking.
much.
Yeah, but the foreigners are just like, it's like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I'm not going to ask you for anything.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not going to see you over here and run over and be like, hey, I got this great opportunity.
I had one guy that I had just met the guy, and he's an American, and he's like, if you get in an accident with that motorcycle, I'm not going to pay your medical bills. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, is that a problem for you? People are asking you to pay their medical bills? Foreigners? He's like, literally, I talked to him for maybe 20 minutes. He's like, if you get in an accident with that motorcycle, I'm not going to pay your medical bills. I'm like, literally, I was like, that was just bizarre.
I know, that's what I said. People here, I worked in a jail, and I worked in a dorm with 64 people.
Okay.
So you have 64 different personalities you're dealing with. Well, here there's a lot more than 64 people. So you got many people from different countries, different personalities, different attitudes. So not everybody are you going to, mesh with. Sometimes you just have different personalities, and that's just the way it is. You don't have to be buddies with everybody.
Yeah.
You can just be on a, hey, how you doing, Joe, and just keep walking type of, relationship, just an acquaintance. You don't have to be best buddies with people.
No, there is that odd foreigner now. It's not the majority. It's nowhere near the majority, but there are the ones that are like hiding from something, and then there are the ones that hate the whole world.
Yes.
And they're here too. You'll run into them occasionally, but they're not the majority.
But like I said, if you don't want, there's plenty of places you can live that you'll rarely ever see a foreigner. You can go to all these little towns outside of the big towns and live your life there. A lot of people, if you've never left your country, never left your backyard, then you might want to do what the soft landing. You can go to a place like Cebu or Iloilo or Manila just to stay for like a month, kind of get your bearings, check out the country. I mean, it's only, a couple $100 to pretty much fly to any island you want to fly to.
Yeah.
And then you go, maybe you start in Manila, you stay there a few days, fly down to Iloilo. You can stay in Iloilo. You can stay at an Airbnb. When I first came, I stayed in Iloilo. I had an Airbnb set up already for 2 months. After the first month, I had already found a condo that I wanted to rent. So 1 month I was kind of, in two places at the same time. But Iloilo is walking distance or, less than 100 pesos to get to the mall.
So when was that? When did you first come to the Philippines to stay?
2022, September.
2022? Okay.
Was it 22 or 23? I don't know. Whatever. It's going to be 4 years, September, that I've been here.
4 years, you know the drill.
I still had to take the shot to get here, which I didn't want to take the shot, but that was the only I had to do it. So I took it once at the VA, and I flew over here. And it's funny because 2 months after maybe a month and a half after I got here, after taking the shot, I got shingles. And
I hear that often.
I didn't know I'd ever had chicken pox. I don't ever remember having chicken pox. I'd asked my father because he had shingles, and he said no, I'd never had chicken pox. So when I went to the nurse or went to the doctor, they're like, oh, you got shingles. I'm like, how can I have shingles? Well, apparently I must have, I must have had it sometime in my life.
Since then, the Philippines dropped all vaccination requirements. But Karen and I are having the opposite problem. See, before she became pregnant, we were going to go to the U.S. And now that she's pregnant, there's no way we're going to let her get a vaccine while she's pregnant. And the U.S. has a whole roster of vaccines. She's never had a vaccine. She's totally unvaccinated. Her whole life, she's never had an injection. And so now that she's pregnant, and there's no way we're going to go to St. Luke's and do the medical thing and submit to all those vaccinations.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Especially if she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Because that's what what's his name there? Kennedy's trying to stop all these vaccinations, because some of them, they even tell you, like you're taking this one vaccine that your baby has to take, and there's almost a 0% chance that he could ever get this thing that you're vaccinated for. So why is he getting the vaccination? So,
the amount of vaccines, it's well over
like 18 shots or something for a little baby. That's insane.
They're injecting newborns. Yeah, it's wild, and so Karen is a tiger mom sort. She's not going to let that happen to her or her kid. So,
but Filipinos, I mean, they still had the mask thing going on here.
Yeah,
and I hate that
all of
frickin'
Asia.
mask.
Well, they're very law-abiding in Asia, okay,
Yes,
and they
yes,
trust
they
their
are.
they trust their leaders more than we do. That's the difference between Filipinos and Americans. Us heritage type Americans, we don't trust our leaders. When they told us to get the vaccine in Missouri, I was working at a plant, and something probably like 8 out of 10 of the local people, the natives in Missouri, did not take the vaccine. They refused it. But all the foreign workers, probably 9 out of 10 of them did take it. So when they had the lines to get the vaccine, it was all the people that were immigrants, basically. Everybody that was a native born to the area refused it.
Yeah, luckily where I work, they didn't require it. Some places, some states or whatever, they required their government, employees to take these shots, or you're fired. And now a lot of them are getting their jobs back.
Yeah,
because it was ridiculous.
But I think I think amongst the Filipino here now, there seems to be retroactively. There seems to be because Karen's. So let me tell another story that's kind of related to this. Karen's brother's mother-in-law in Manila, somewhere up in Luzon, had a heart attack, and everyone in the family looked at each other and said, "Was she vaccinated?" That's the awareness that's spreading now here. So. And I don't want to say anything further than that because we'll probably get in trouble for saying. And somebody messaged me this morning and said, because I put it on my Facebook, they said, "Are you on the hook for that?" No, Karen and Ann, I would never allow me to pay for that. But other than make a small contribution. But if you got a good family that's protective of you and has basic common sense about finances, they're not going to ask you to pay for someone else's surgery that you can't afford. If you're like a millionaire and they know you're just throwing money away, they'll probably ask you. But if they know you're on a budget, and we got a construction budget, we got a budget for different things we do, and Nana and Karen are like, no, you're having a kid, we can't give all this money. We don't, James's money. So they're like, but all they asked was that, can you put it on Facebook? So I did, and the lady's whole medical report is on there, all her tests and everything, what she's got. She basically had a heart attack, and she needs a bypass. So,
however, this is another thing where James was, I call it lucky. I mean, when you get in a relationship, it's always a roll of the dice, whether you're here or whatever country you're in. I mean, America, you got a 50% divorce rate, so
yeah.
He did his background. He talked to Karen for a while. He got to know the family. He came for a trip, checked it all out. And so she has a very good family. Her sisters and brothers speak English. Her family owns the farmland they're on. James likes farming. That's why he's there.
Yeah, I got to correct that, David. They don't own the land, but they're close with the owner, and they're like the top tenants. They're the ones that always pay every year.
Because my girlfriend has family that just works on another person's land, and they're dirt poor. I mean, they're living in.
Well, there are people there. It's kind of like sharecropping in the U.S. Yeah. So basically, there's families that actually pay what they're supposed to hand over and then there's families that don't. Karen's family is the number one, that pays what they're supposed to.
Which means that they're employees. They get good employees that trust them and want to work hard for them.
That's the thing. Trust. Karen's family. That's what I noticed. They got a reputation as being the go-to people because they're trusted.
But what I'm saying, so a lot of people, for some reason, I don't know. I think maybe some men. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Maybe have like low self-esteem or something. So they're looking for the most dirt poor girl they can find to think that maybe that would be easier to win over. Well, if your girlfriend's dirt poor and her family is, all right, and a lot of guys are like, oh, don't give them money. You're a simp. You gave them money. Well, if her father or mother or brother has an accident or a heart attack and goes to the hospital, they don't have any money. And it could be either you pay or they die. I mean, it can be that simple.
Yep.
So you have to make it. Unless I thought it was raining.
No, that's fountain just came on. They just turned the pump on.
So that's the decision you may have to make. And if, a lot of guys might be, well, sorry, what did you do when I wasn't here? But that's the reality. That hospitals won't take people who don't
Yep.
have money to pay.
Yep.
And so that's a truth that you can think about. If you get hooked up with a girl, then they have no finances. Well, what are you supposed to do?
And there are, yeah, I mean, if you're careful about who you date, you can stay out of that situation. Because there were girls that I checked out their background, everything like that. There were dentists on there were professionals, there's flight attendants on the dating sites here in the Philippines, just like there are in the U.S. And for me, because I wanted a girl from a farm background, Karen's overwhelming awareness of the world around her and her maturity stood out. I mean, Karen is more mature than the girls that were like in their mid-30s that I was talking to. Literally, she was more mature, knew what she wanted, and more realistic about life in general than the girls that were in their mid-30s. I had girls that were nearing 40 and they were like, they wanted to have a bunch of kids. They wanted to have a career. I'm like, you're almost 40 years old. How are you going to do that? It's like,
yeah. Again, it's not rocket science. People are like so worked up about moving to the Philippines. I mean, they'll pay some person to teach them about, how to pick up girls or do whatever in the Philippines. If you're from New York and move to Florida, are you calling people to help you figure out? It's like any other place. You can get on a plane, fly over here, and check it out. It's that simple.
well, it's not Mogadishu, it's not Afghanistan. It is it's more similar to going from New York to Florida than it is from going to. It's a foreign country, but we're still on planet Earth here.
Yes.
And
You're not going to Mars.
it's not Japan or Korea. They speak English here, which is one of the wonderful things about the Philippines.
Japan just don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Japan's like, you don't speak Japanese because like the Disneys and the stuff like that, they don't speak English for everybody. No, they'll just speak Japanese.
The signs in Japan are not.
Figure it out.
Yeah, they're in Japanese, and I get the feeling in Japan they can take or leave it as to whether we're there.
But this place isn't for everybody. That's why I really can't understand how somebody will go online, meet a girl, never met her, and you hear this a lot, build a house, has never even been to the Philippines. He's already pretty much invested, and when you get here, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Because it's like 90 degrees every day.
Yeah.
And I don't run my aircon. I know you're good, you don't need aircon, but where I live, it's very high. I sit in my house and just like sweat because it's with a fan blowing on me.
Yeah, when I drive over to your end of the island, it's always much hotter over there. Literally, we hit that sign between Aklan and Iloilo. You're entering Aklan province from either Capiz or Iloilo. There, immediately you feel cooler.
So if you're not a tropical type person, this might not be a good place for you unless if you have enough money because electric is very high here. My last electric bill was like 7,000 pesos. I don't even know what that is, but that's over $100. And I don't run my aircon during the day.
Well, that's wild.
Basically just at night.
So ours is about $2,500 or $2,600 a month. And Karen will forget to pay the bill for a couple months. I'm like, why don't you just pay that on Gcash?
Cut us off. That's how I do mine at Gcash.
Yeah.
But,
and the problem is she got Gcash closed her account for some reason with money in it. They did something with that. They don't recognize her photo anymore, and she can't get back in. And they took her money, and she's trying to get it back, and she doesn't want to. She doesn't have a Gcash, so she just goes in and pays it in person, and so it ends up being a hassle. But even with the penalty and everything, it's probably ends up being less than $2,700 a month.
My whole thing is the aircon because I use just as much wattage or whatever in the 8 hours my aircon's on than I do the whole rest of the day.
Yeah.
So it's all about it, but it's so high.
We're gonna put aircon on now that we're having a baby for like the rarest time when it's really that hot, and it's just so Karen's not miserable when it's really and that's maybe 10% of the time. It's only maybe 10% of the time when you need the air conditioner not to feel uncomfortable. So the bill for one split unit in our bedroom is going to be, it should be pretty low. How many are you renting?
It's going to be, what's that?
How many are you renting? Just your bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's an old aircon too.
It's a window unit?
Yeah, it's one of the old, and that one came with a house, so it's not even a good. I should have bought a new one.
So we could be 50% less than what
you get one of the new ones with the split type inverters.
Split inverter, yeah.
Yeah, they're super good on,
Yeah, so maybe we'll
electricity and
add
stuff.
$35 or something to the bill every month, which is negligible. It's not that troll was like, he's living in the province without air conditioning. It's like if we really needed it, we would have already got it. But
I don't understand the problem with other people, and they're usually not even in the Philippines. I guess they're just bored. But there's either you're a simp or you're broke, and I don't think the broke thing. Oh, he's just another broke. Who cares? If you're not living in the street, I mean, why do you care what I do with my finances?
Put it this way: consumer debt in the United States is at record all-time highs. If you're over here in the Philippines, you're probably not as bad off as 90% of the population back in the U.S.
Yeah, once you do your initial setup or whatever, I mean, you don't even need to do an initial setup. You can find a hotel. I would find one with the cheaper hotels, of course. I wouldn't do like, one that's like $30,000 a night. Find some cheaper hotel that's close to the ocean or right on the ocean and see if they do monthly. You could go there with your 2 suitcases and you got a bed, a bathroom.
I know places
they could
like
have
that.
a restaurant right there, and that's all you need. You can pay them by the month.
Yeah, and I know places like that. I know the owners of those places, and it'd be so easy to walk in there. You pay a couple $100, $250, $300, and you're living on the beach.
I got the guy at in Oslo, the hotel, the resort I was staying there. The guy pays $17,000 a month, which is like $300 a month, and he just stays at the hotel.
Well, there's another YouTuber living in a nice apartment at Cataclan right on the beach looking out at Boracay. He's only 9,000 pesos a month for that. Beautiful unit.
So it's easy to get here. It's easy to get around here. And I would tell anybody, if you hadn't, like I said, been out your backyard, and everybody tells you, come visit first. Have some money in the bank. Because the biggest thing in here, which, I should take my own advice because I don't have any, but if you get hurt, money talks here, so you got to have cash.
Yeah, you got to have an emergency fund. Mainly, the main reason is if you get in an accident or you have a medical problem, you need to be able to pay cash. And your girlfriend or wife needs to have access to it so that she can pay them if you're incapacitated or you can't leave the hospital or whatever.
Yeah, and if you come here single, you don't need to rush into a relationship. Even though, I found that when you're here and you're single, it's like you have a disease because they're like, oh, where's your girlfriend? Oh, I'm single. You're single? Hey, this guy's single. What the hell?
They think you must really be a psycho. Either you don't like girls or you're really a psycho.
I got a cousin.
Yeah.
I got my friend's sister single, and then they'll try to hook you up with somebody. And that's I tell other American or other foreigners is like, don't hook people up. Okay, and this is the same thing in the United States, because if you hook up Joe with Jan over here and something goes wrong, they're going to come back to you and be like, can you go talk to them? And you're like,
we've had that happen, and we've just been mutual friends, and they're coming to us like, oh my God, it just never ends.
Mm-hmm. So let people find their own whatever. Like there's plenty of either you can go on a dating site. Or you can just go to the 7-Eleven or the grocery store and you see the cashier, talk to her for a little while. You have to actually talk to people. They're not going to jump on your back.
The town market, well, sometimes they do. We were on a boat ride with a friend, and a lady starts pulling out her photo album out of her purse, shows her 19-year-old daughter, and suggests that our 60-year-old friend get with her 19-year-old daughter. No joke.
Again, maybe some. I had a taxi driver ask me if I was, married, and I said, no, I'm single. He's like, oh, I got a cousin, and I'm like, it's okay, I'm good, I don't need it. So yeah, the dating is a lot easier, you could say, here than. So if you come here and you can't find a girl to date, there's something wrong with you.
I do get a sense, and that's all true, but I do get a sense that that's changing. The Western style, the Western cultural thing of attacking the girl's self-esteem, telling her she's got to have a career, is setting in here. So once all the ladies become, the young ladies are all on the career track, they're off the marriage track. Yeah. So basically, they're on the friends with benefits type track or the hookup track. They're not on the wife material track anymore or long-term girlfriend track. So I expect maybe if the trend continues, 10, 15 years. I mean, I think it's going to be a while, but I think we're going to see that Philippines is going to be just like the U.S., I think. Am I wrong?
It would take a while. The Philippines is they just haven't, I don't know. It's like they just don't care.
One thing,
you can be whatever you are, and they'll just accept you. That's why they don't care about the age differences. However, like you said, if you get into your cities, I mean, if you go into Cebu, you're not going to see girls, and a lot of people, YouTubers say this, you don't have the girls looking at you and giggling and all that stuff because they're just used to being around you. And the thing to where they may start not wanting to date much older men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're looking at, because they're in the workforce, they got their workmates, and they're looking, they're around guys that are their age. Now, the girl in the province, now she's still going to,
And what Philippines has going for it is it's very resistant to change because the mass culture thing hasn't quite set in as much here. The internet is in part bringing that here, but you've got 7,000 islands. I know most of them are not inhabited, but you've got all these different islands. You've got 100 different dialects, and it's really harder to upload something into the consciousness here than it is in America or the West. You can't just have Hollywood and create these memes and everybody's going to assimilate to it. Now, because English is very common here, but it's not 100% yet. You can still go into the mountain ranges on these various islands, and they're speaking their local dialect. They're not on Facebook and YouTube and social media all day. So you're going to find some culturally rural people here that are not into mass culture. They're traditional people, let's call them, and they're in the traditional relationships.
Her family doesn't speak English.
Yeah,
her sister does, but like her fathers and the cousins, and they don't. That really makes it hard. And that's why, like, a lot of times they have parties. I don't go and stay there very long because I'm just kind of by myself twiddling my thumbs, and because they just don't speak English.
Now, Karen's family, my wife's family, is kind of interesting because they've got a foot in both worlds. Mm-hmm. The girls are all like school teachers. That's the career track the girls in the family get on. They don't spend their whole life teaching, but they go in and out of these teaching jobs. So they speak English good because they're teaching it. And the guys, pretty much, they'll get jobs in the police or the security, the military, whatever, or just stay as farmers. So their English is not as sharp. It's not as good. And so the family's got a foot in both worlds. And they respect their male relatives. They respect their father very much. Tata is very respected, even though he does his educational attainment. It might only be like 8th grade or high school. And so but he is very well respected. His wisdom is very much respected in the family. So they have a positive male role model. But the girls are, they speak English. They're on Facebook. They're on YouTube. They're on all the social media. And they point out to me the things that we are complaining about, the ills of society. They'll ask me questions that will get me in trouble if I say, but they'll be like, why are there so many drug users in America? Or they'll ask me, why are there, about like Philadelphia or somewhere, why are there so many zombies? And they'll get asked this question. I'm like, I hadn't thought about that. And then they'll show me the video, and I'll be like, interesting, because we're more tolerant of that stuff, I guess.
Well, that's again the people farther out in the province. They haven't been commercialized. A lot of them don't sit and watch TV and play games all day long.
Yep, they do not. Yep.
And I remember many years ago. This was probably back like in the 80s or something. I remember seeing a Filipino music video. And I think foreigners have been shown to be really nice, people, and that's the way they feel about foreigners. So in this video, you have this girl who was like growing up as the outcast girl in the village, and the boys are throwing stones at her, whatever, and she was always treated badly. Well, then, somewhere in her life, she disappears, and then she comes back with the foreigner, and she's all in beautiful dress, and she's beautiful, and she's walking around, and everybody's looking at her, and then and the boy, the husband's all like in a suit, or he's like looking like Prince Charming, and this is the ideal they get. So when they see a foreigner, a lot of times they probably do think of money, because again, you don't know poverty till you see these people here. They don't have anything.
Well, I can tell you a little anecdotal story about that. We were out in a very rural province on a rural island, and Karen got to know the girls there, and they were talking about, if such and such gets a foreign boyfriend, because they were chatting a friend of ours, you know, the jealousy was there. The knives were already out just because she might be chatting some guy, a foreigner. They were out in this rural island. They're in heavy competition for the foreigner. They regard the foreigner basically as an ATM, and the jealousy is very real amongst the clique. So yeah, I have seen that firsthand.
That's there's another guy that I was talking to, the same thing. When he started dating his girlfriend, he said that all her friends turned their backs on her because, you know, all of a sudden, and it's just, there is a lot of jealousy here.
Yes.
But also, if you do, Filipinos give to their family. They'll leave their family, go overseas and work so they can send money back.
Yes.
So when one meets you, they just assume, why wouldn't you help? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But in the United States, we're like, you don't touch my money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a very much a difference in culture. Modern American culture is more rugged individualist. What's mine is mine. And here, Karen will say, like the Three Musketeers, one all for one and one for all. And they actually mean it. So her family actually means they all got each other's back.
And
by the way, they do borrow money once in a while, a little bit of money here and there, and they always give it back. Which is, people say never borrow money, but that tells you that could be a litmus test right there. If they ask you to borrow money, give them a little bit of money, you know, make clear that you want it paid back, and if they don't pay back, you know what kind of people you're dealing with.
That's what, I can't remember who it was, but it might have been Rick A or somebody. He'd say when he'd go on his first date with a girl, and, you know, he'd have her go up and pay for the food or whatever, and give her, you know, extra, more than what it is, and then see if she gives you the change back. It's like,
yeah, and you could get into a lot of trouble doing that because a lot of these girls are more sophisticated than that. I've had girls tell me that, hey, this foreigner left his wallet. I've had girls tell me this. He left his wallet with all the money sitting out overnight to see, and I know he did that to see if I would take it. And she's like, she's insulted. She says, I know he just, you know, he just did that to test me. So
well, yeah, I mean, most people are, you know, they're honest people.
Yeah.
But again, you know, if you haven't eaten in 3 or 4 days and you see someone drop a, you know, 500 pesos on the ground, you know, I might be there's the old foot trick where you step on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one thing. I think when people are take something because they're hungry, and it's another thing when they're taking and they don't need it. Those are two types of people.
The people that will ask for money is it's very sad here, because I've seen girls that look like they're, you know, in kindergarten holding babies that are, you know, and they're just looking at you.
And they're it's theater. It's theater.
Yeah.
They will deliberately make themselves dirty and look like they're really poor so that some gullible foreign tourist will hand them a wad of money. And it works most of the time. I mean, they're making probably more money than their parents could ever make doing that.
I had one lady, she was, I don't know, she's probably in her 20s, and she's holding a baby. And she taught the baby to reach his hand out. Even back in my hometown in Missouri, the nearest town where there's a Walmart, there'll be ladies out front of the on the road with a cardboard sign that says that they can't afford formula or whatever, diapers, standing on the side of the road in freaking rural Missouri. Yeah, so it's the world over. I'm not singling out Filipinos. Where I grew up, I had never seen a homeless person. I had never seen a beggar ever. The first time I seen one was in 1983 when I went into the Air Force and was down in San Antonio. But if you go walk, I mean, that was, you know, 30 whatever years ago, but if you go walk around that town now, yeah, they got the homeless, they got the beggars. I used to sit in the jail, and me and this inmate that was locked down had this long conversation about, you know, garbage can pizzas. And I mean, these guys, you know, they talk about the homeless, we need to get them homes. They don't want to live anything. They have their routine down. There's certain places that, you know, at the end of the night, instead of throwing the food away, they'll put it in a bag and kind of put it on the side of the dumpster or something. You know, they know where to go to get their food. All they want is, you know, drugs and alcohol.
And really, there's a civil liberties debate in the U.S. about what to do about that. Should we lock them all up? Or, you know, I say if they're causing a problem, lock them up. If they're out in the park keeping to themselves, you know, shouting at the clouds, probably leave them. But
if you break life down to its basics, where all you're worried about is just surviving day by day, how stressful is your life? You know, you're just trying to get high. After that, you've done your part for the day.
Yeah.
You know, you don't care about where you're living. You're high, you'll pass out anywhere. Because they were building a brand new facility for homeless. And I asked a couple of the homeless guys, I said, would you go stay there? They're like, hell no. I'm not going to stay there with all the rules and, you know, you can't panhandle, all this stuff. He goes, I'd stay on the street, perfectly comfortable.
So I've gotten into some pretty heated debates on Facebook about the amount of drug abuse here in the Philippines versus the United States. And people tell me that I'm very much mistaken, that there's more drug use here in the Philippines. And in my personal experience out here in the province, there is some, but it does not anywhere. It's nowhere near competitive with the levels we have in the United States. It's got to be at least 5 times more common in the U.S. than here. And then the people will say, well, you just don't see it. Well, that's the point. If I don't see it, if it's not affecting me, why do I care?
Do I have to go look for it?
Yeah,
Do I need to go in the slums of Manila and ask them if they're doing drugs?
The point is, they're not interfering with my daily life. I'm not being, damn near held up at the gas pump while I'm pumping gas here in the Philippines.
The thing was, the last regime was very strict on drugs. They had a don't do it policy. Instead of America, where they're handing out needles so that you're, So, here, do drugs, go to jail, or die the rest of your.
So, David, which you've been in corrections, you're a little older than me, and you've been here longer. Which system would you say works better, the tolerance or zero tolerance?
Well, the zero tolerance works much better, because all you got to do is go look at some of our, like you said, our cities of the walking zombies out there. And
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. I prefer the zero tolerance method myself. It's producing better results here,
and it's reaching rural America, kind of where you live. Where I live out where I originally live in New York. That's way out in cow country, but you're finding these meth heads and stuff. They're finding these little houses to rent out there in the middle of nowhere, because no one's going to bother them. And so this drug corrupt stuff is, it's taking over even the small towns now.
It is, and you got to wonder if I got to wonder, we can debate, that's a separate debate, whether that's malicious, what do you call that, whether the authorities have a malicious intent letting that go on, or whether it's just by, benign neglect, or whether it's maliciousness that they're not enforcing the laws and cleaning the place up, but.
Yeah, you can't tell me they don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
they could put a stop to it real quick. They got everybody's phones are checked. They know who everybody is and what everybody's doing.
People rat on each other all the time, and you get a guy, and he gets arrested. You're like, look, you're gonna get 10 years if you don't tell us this. They'll be like, oh, I'm not telling you nothing. Okay, 20 years. Okay, John over there in the corner. Yeah, he's they rat on each other all the time. But again, if there's a house where people are just constantly going to and leaving, they don't really stay very long, you kind of get an idea of what's going on there. And people will call the police. But the police are like, okay, well, we're watching it, but, we don't want to get the small guys. We want to get the big guys. Well, meanwhile, this guy's just continuing.
The whole neighborhood's going to crap. Well,
Because who wants to live next to that?
So this goes into the debate between Philippines. You get these people that say, Philippines, why would anyone want to live in a third world country? Well, third world doesn't match up. Third world means non-aligned during the Cold War, but you get what they mean. Why would anyone want to live in a third world country is what they tell me, David.
Well, the thing is, it's again, had I not come here, I couldn't have retired. It's that simple. I mean, the biggest thing here is rent. I mean, I can't see. I get a little thing that comes up and tells me, what rents are and stuff around my area. I lived in Florida, just about 30 minutes away from Daytona. Rent is anywhere from, like a small house, maybe 12. You might find one from $1,200 up to over $2,000. Most of them around close to the $2,000. Well, that was more than what my pension was. So if I wanted to retire, I definitely couldn't retire there. I had a house, but still it would have taken, my mortgage payment was almost the same. So had I not come here, I would have had to continue working probably 4 more years. So, instead of that, I went ahead and moved here.
And you're in a high stress environment. So in 4 more years, you might have an aneurysm and die from the stress.
Yeah, I was already taking like 5 high blood pressure meds at a time. So, it was time for me to go. I was over.
So how's your health, your blood pressure situation since you've come here? Has it gotten better or worse or the same?
It had come down, and it was doing pretty good. But then again, I changed my lifestyle a little bit to make it worse. So my blood pressure's up there again. But it's almost, I know how to bring it down.
Hey, you get people complaining about the food in the Philippines, that the food's not tasty, not good, overpriced. But you live near Iloilo. How do you answer those guys?
Yeah,
the food's terrible
again,
here.
I don't like a lot of Filipino food. That's another thing with James. James would damn near eat anything. He loves it all. It's like you throw it on a plate, James is going to eat it. I'm very picky, But again, if you want to be able to eat at American restaurants or foreign restaurants, you just got to move to the right place.
You can get anything you want.
Yes,
Italian chef, whatever you want.
They got Texas Roadhouse is coming in. Hopefully someday. They got TGIF just opened
Vikings.
up. They got they have they got American pizza. That was a joke when I was getting ready to move over here. We were having a party, and a couple friends of mine who were Marines that had been here before. They're like, "Well, you better go get that last slice of good pizza because you ain't gonna get that no more." But now
you can.
You can get that. Yes. So you just have, if you don't want to live in the mountainside, have a lot, that type of food offered, then you can stay in the Iloilo or.
All right. I want to ask now. Listen, I want to ask a couple of controversial ones here to wrap it up. This has been a great conversation. I'm going to throw a couple of some red meat.
I don't even know where.
I'm going to throw some red meat.
All over the place.
We've been all over. But it's been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it. Which country has the most per capita young beautiful women? The United States or the Philippines?
I would have to go with the Philippines. However, you still have Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia. I haven't been there, but
all right. As far as Japan and Thailand and Korea, if you look at the average age under, say, 45, statistically, the Philippines probably has like between 2 to 5 times more. Just statistically, women under 45 years old.
This is the thing about, and I mentioned this a long time ago. I used to talk to a guy. He was like the only YouTuber here, like 15 some years ago. A guy was in Angeles City, and he was a young guy, and he said something about these girls dating older people. And I said this. I said, look, what is the average age of the single Filipino? Between 18 and 30.
Yeah, the majority of the population.
After 30, they're normally either having kids or they're starting, because that's old for a Filipina. They need to start putting out babies or something.
The average age, male and female, for the whole country is in the mid-20s.
And what is the average age for the person coming here and retiring?
Probably
it's going to be
60s.
55 to 60. So those are your two single groups.
Yeah, you throw them all in the mix together, and what do you expect is going to happen?
So that's what you get. And the younger girls don't mind dating the older guys, and of course the older guys don't mind dating younger girls, But even the guys will go off of straight beauty. And because you watch a TikTok and I see guys on there, the girl will be dancing. Oh, I'll marry you tomorrow. Well, you should get to know her a little. It don't matter how pretty she is. She could be a pain in the ass. Let's just say. So beauty isn't everything. And a lot of these girls are so nice that you can fall in love with a girl, and she don't have to be a damn, the prom queen.
Exactly, and the thing is that overall, I don't want to be mean to people in the West, but overall, when you go out into the province, not in the cities as much anymore, but when you go out in the province, people are healthier. Their body mass index is a lot lower, and they're just a lot more physically active, and that makes them more physically attractive. Also, the fact that they're in good shape, they're not overweight.
The ones out there working.
Yeah.
But they're you gotta find the right fit for you when you come over here. That's all it is. There's all the truths, this and that. There's one talking about one YouTuber talked about the guy whose girlfriend said that he had beat her up or whatever, and then he went to prison for all these years just because she said this, so you can get put in jail whether it's real or not. Well, in the United States,
same thing.
A girl can call the police on you and have you put in jail if she wants to. There's a
I know a lot of incidents in the U.S. Young guys getting locked up because they they got in a domestic with their girlfriend, and there's not even a it's a he said she said situation, and somehow the guy gets all the blame. So I've seen that. You can get in just as much trouble as the United States. Is the bottom line.
This word. Okay, let's say you're at your house in America with your girlfriend, and you're in an argument. So she's like, "Oh, screw you, I'm leaving." You're like, "Whoa, honey, no, we're gonna talk this out. You're not leaving. Let's talk about this." Okay, that's false imprisonment. You can now go to jail because you stopped her from leaving.
Yeah, that's a felony, I believe. It's a felony.
So, and you didn't put a hand on her. All you did is say, "Hey, like for your safety, I'm not going to let you go out all angry and stuff." And that can lead to they can actually charge you with kidnapping.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So I mean, there's no difference. The only difference is here is once she makes that call, the police kind of take over and the police get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Whereas here you can be like, "Oh, that's BS. Okay, I'll give her 1,000 pesos."
Yeah.
And the problem could go away.
Problem goes away.
Depending on how angry she is.
Yeah.
Even if, that's life. People get, in trouble for things they never did. There used to be, I'll tell a story. There used to be this guy used to come in every few months, like every 6 to 8 months. The guy was like 80 years old. But what he did, he lived downtown in Crackville, and he would date these freaking meth women, and they would hook up and they'd be living with him. I don't know if he had the same girl or what, but after a while they'd get tired of him because they want to, I don't know, go find some younger guy. But he pays all the bills and buys them drugs. So what they'll do is just call the police on him or get him so angry that he does put hands on him. And then he calls the police. And he'll go to jail for like a month or so. They get to run around. He'll get out, go back to buying them drugs again. And it's just a vicious cycle.
Then that's part of the thing. The authorities kind of should know that. They probably do know that, but they let it go on anyway. Here, you kind of got a better system. Like you say, you pay them 1,000 pesos and it stops. There's not a felony record that follows you for the rest of your life. Kind of, which system are you going to say is dysfunctional? Is it?
The biggest problem people have here is basically overstays. So as long as you keep your visa in check, that's the normal reason why people get kicked out. And if you look at, because I looked up, like how many people have been arrested here. The large majority of people who get arrested here are like the Chinese and stuff that come over here and do those gambling things. They do illegal businesses here, and that's why they're getting arrested or kicked out of the country. The regular foreign guy you don't really hear about. I'm sure that there's more issues than you hear about, but drama sells. So if something's happening, somebody with a camera is going to want to record it.
Yeah, our friend Alex on what is this? I forgot. Alex's channel. Sorry, Alex. Yeah, but he reports on all the if it bleeds, it leads kind of stuff all the time. But it's very rare for a Western foreigner, an average Joe, to get deported for just trying to go about his life in a normal way. You got to be doing something really stupid to get deported from here.
And again, talking about foreigners, Filipinos don't want to get in an altercation with you. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you get the wrong one who's had too many red horse and he don't care. But so, if you got John over here and Joe cuts him off, normally if the guy gets out, he's like, "Oh, you cut me off," and the Filipino would be like, "Sorry, Dan," and then they'll drive and everything good. But then when he gets, cut off by his alter ego over here, and then they're like, "Oh, screw you, no, screw you," next, then that's when you get issues. But that's just a foreign thing. Look at road rage in America. My God, these people shoot each other just because someone cut them off.
Look, learn how to drive here. I've done a lot of stupid stuff. If I did that stuff in America, I guarantee I would have drawn some fire. At least
I've seen people brake checking semis. You know what I mean? That's not something you want to do. So it's a lot worse there. But when you put a amount of people, like I said, if you put a group of foreigners, you can stay away. You don't need to be in there with them. But you understand that their attitudes and their whatever is different than regular Filipinos.
Yeah.
So that's why people are, "Oh, I hate being around foreigners." Well, you don't be at the club at 3:00 in the morning. When everybody's blasting.
Let me just say it. If you're an expat here in the Philippines and you're constantly having problems with Filipinos, you probably need to look in the mirror.
It might be you.
Yeah, it might be the problem. All right, David. Anything else you want to wrap it?
I think we've talked about everything we could think of.
I think that was an awesome conversation. Thank you, David.
Y'all will be seeing me again later this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I'll catch up with you. We will catch up with you for sure over in the Dumaguete area. So.
We will be there. In a couple
All right,
weeks.
awesome, David. Thank you.